the town of Cave Creek, Arizona for Monday, April 1st, 2024, April Fool's Day. I've seen no jokes today, so something's wrong. The meeting's now called to order and we may have the roll call, please.
Councilmember Overton,
Here.
Councilmember Bunch,
Here.
Councilmember Alcama,
Here.
Councilmember McGuire,
Present.
Councilmember Rhodes.
Here.
Vice Mayor Royer. Here. Mayor Morris.
Here. Keith, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Yeah.
Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All you have to do is to say, I pledge, everybody else.
Thank you.
Keith is a veteran, by the way. The public announcements. I have none. Does someone else have a public announcement they'd like to make?
Yep.
Seeing none, we'll move to call to the
Well,
public.
you know, I would say I want to thank Adam for the work that he did over the weekend on Bike Week. The weather was very good on Saturday. Traffic we're working on. And, you know, we learn as we move along. Sunday, unfortunately for the merchants, was a rainy day, but one of the merchants told me it brings in a lot of business. He mentioned that it was bringing in $100,000. And since we're dependent upon sales tax, that's very good for the community. So we thank Adam and really note the benefit that is brought to us by Bike Week, even though it may be an inconvenience. Thank you.
Mayor, broken record here.
Good.
All right, everybody. Cool weather, lots of rain, probably got one more sprouting season, this darn globe chamomile stink net. So let's take care of it before it becomes an issue in May.
Fire season is coming.
Yeah.
Call to the public.
I have no one who should speak.
No one wishes to speak. Town manager report.
Very briefly, Mayor and Council, as you are aware, we have our election coming up, and this is an opportunity for the public to actually place their for and against arguments in the publicity pamphlet. The call for arguments is due May 1st. Information will be available online for the public. Also, the election page will be updated this week with candidates. So today was the final day to file. And so we have that information, and that's going to be also posted on the website this week. Speaking of Bike Week, I just want to let you know that we'll likely be trying to make some modifications to, again, try to get the traffic moving a little bit better. So we're right now working with a traffic engineer that was involved in the original traffic plan for that. So we may be making a little bit more what I would call adjustments or tweaks to that. That's all I have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Action items. The first is the, first of all, announcement, item number 5, which is the Utilities Department update on the January 17th, 2024 8-inch force main collapse at Cave Creek Road and Carefree Highway is being moved to our next meeting. We're not ready for that one tonight. With that, the consent agenda. We're looking for a motion to approve the February 5th, 2024 regular council meeting minutes. I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. General agenda items and council discussion and possible approval of community grant committee recommendations for a total amount of $40,000 presented by the deputy town manager, town clerk, and the vice mayor.
I will defer to the Vice Mayor.
Okay, very good. At our December 18th, 2023 Town Council meeting, Council unanimously approved a proposal to restructure the method by which grants are awarded to nonprofit organizations to improve transparency and equity for grant awards. The new structure includes a formal application process, specific dates for applying for grants, criteria by which the applications would be evaluated, and the creation of a 5-person community grants committee to review, evaluate, and determine grant awards. The committee is composed of 2 Cave Creek residents, 1 Town Core merchant, 1 Town of Cave Creek senior staff person, and 1 council member. I'd like to introduce a couple of the committee members who are here in the audience tonight. And we are so grateful for their effort that they took to help us make these decisions. First is Mike Johnson. Mike, stand up, please. Mike is a local resident and he worked for American Express. And I think as part of his position there, he was also a volunteer with United Way and helped make grant-making decisions for them. Lauren Van Winkle is in the back. Lauren. Thank you, Lauren, who is the co-owner along with her husband Johnny of Local Johnny's, who we all know very much support many nonprofits, charitable organizations in Cave Creek. They help with fundraising all the time. Again, the third member was Mary Pat McKenna, who can't be here tonight, but she has extensive experience in grant writing and grant making decisions. Thank you to all of these people who worked with us over a two-week period of meetings and understanding the new process and helping us make critical decisions. So for their recommendations, we had a total of $40,000, which was not publicized in the application. I think this committee, this council decided that we didn't need to do that for some purpose. But what happened was that we got $180,000 worth of requests for a $40,000 budget. So my recommendation going forward would be to absolutely specify how much money we have in order to distribute, so people have a realistic view of what we can invest. The decisions that this committee came up with, first of all, are based in our strategic plan. For those of you who might not understand, we do try to make business decisions on this council, which are correlated with the 2024 council strategic plan. And so once I go through all the award recommendations, I will also identify where they fall into our strategic plan. Starting with the largest grant to the Cave Creek Museum. The funding will be used for the preservation and safekeeping of the physical artifacts, oral traditions, and life stories of the families of the Cave Creek Mining District and the surrounding desert foothills. Funding may also be used for educational programs to build bridges between individuals, the land, and its cultural heritage. The recommendation for the museum is $10,000, which is the largest grant recommendation out of the 40. The next largest is the Foothills Food Bank. The Foothills Food Bank and Resource Center provides boxed grocery rescue foods, wholesale purchase staples, as well as rescued and purchased fresh foods in a market setting. It is the only Gold Star certified nutritional pantry in the state of Arizona and offers referrals, resources, financial assistance, and training courses in self-care, financial literacy, and wellness. The recommended grant for the Foothills Food Bank is $6,000. Cave Creek Unified Education Foundation. The recommended grant award is $5,000. Funding will support the annual Grant the District campaign for 2024. Every summer, teachers and administrators apply for a grant from the foundation. The grants support technology, music and the arts, international learning, and health and wellness. The next one is the Desert Foothills Land Trust. The Desert Foothills Land Trust connects people to nature by working with communities and partners to conserve and steward sensitive lands and species for the survival of the Sonoran Desert. Funding will support the Desert Discovery Day at its Jewel of the Creek Preserve in Cave Creek. The amount of the recommended award is $5,000. Next is the Sonoran Arts League. The Sonoran Arts League's mission is to give to our community by promoting art, artists, and art education through leadership and service in the belief that an artistic awareness is essential to the well-being of life and our community. Funding will be used to print and post a trifold brochure and map highlighting the locations of Hidden in the Hills Studios during the 2-weekend event in November of every year. The recommended amount, $5,000. The next is Foothills Caring Corps. FCC's mission is to promote independence and enhance the quality of life of our neighbors. with particular emphasis on allowing them to remain living in their own homes. Funding will be used to pay for its Town of Cave Creek transportation program to help pay for fuel and vehicle maintenance to support transportation-related neighborhood services. The recommended amount, $5,000. Sorry, I need a drink. I'm almost done. But this is important stuff. And I really am proud of this work. And I'm proud of everybody in this room who came here to share in the great results. So I have to do all this. Bear with me. The Holland Center. The Holland Center supports a variety of community enrichment services and programs. Funding will be used to license plays and musicals at the Desert Foothills Theater and to underwrite a portion of a creative kids program entitled Poetry Jam and Slam. The recommended amount, $2,000. Number 8, the Desert Foothills Library Association. The Desert Foothills Library turned 70 this year. Congratulations to the library. Desert Foothills is Arizona's only nonprofit independent library, promoting literacy and advancing knowledge through library resources and programs that inspire and support lifelong learning. The recommended grant, $1,000. And last but not least, Cave Creek Dark Sky. Cave Creek Dark Sky was established in 2019 to bring dark sky quality of life benefits to Cave Creek. Since its inception, the organization has been working diligently to educate and inform the community about contemporary dark sky lighting standards for the preservation of the night sky. Funding will be used to host a variety of educational presentations, including public stargazing events and the distribution of dark sky educational materials to the greater community and schools. Recommended grant is $1,000. As I mentioned, I'd like to just quickly run through the elements of our 2024 strategic plan and how these grants align with it. It falls under the category of safe and vibrant community. The town of Cave Creek will update, support, and provide policies, programs, and events that sustain our vibrant, unique, and authentic community. Number 1, promote public safety services, community relationships, and creative programs that ensure a safe community through best practices. I believe that Foothills Caring Corps and the Foothills Food Bank both fall under that category. Number 2, preserve, conserve, and promote the historic and cultural identity and resources that reflect the values and traditions of our community. Cave Creek Museum, Dark Skies, Desert Foothills Land Trust, and Sonoran Arts League all fall under that category. Support and create public-private partnerships with community organizations. That's the Holland Center and the Desert Foothills Theater and Creative Kids programs. And then finally, promote and support diverse recreational activities and events that serve all ages, abilities, and interests. And that is the Cave Creek Unified Education Foundation and the Desert Foothills Library. So with that, I think I touched on everything that I wanted. Again, the total amount of the grant requests from 13 different organizations, 9 of which received awards, was $180,500, of which we only were able to give 40. But with that money, I think we did a good job. We covered a lot of territory, and we were grateful for all the applicants and all the work that you all did to provide us with the information that we needed to address and review and grade your applications.
Questions?
Any questions?
I have a comment in that, when we sit up here on this dais, we are spending the people's money. And this is a perfect example of connecting it to plans that we heard from you all about how the things we are supposed to be working on. And we're following up, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome.
In the years that I've been here, it's been a much more informal process. And I give credit to the vice mayor. I know it's very clear she put a lot into this. She took a process that we had been doing very informally. She put some sense behind it. And I really appreciate it. It was a change for me to look at it. And I think, Catherine, congratulations. You really have done the community well. And thanks to the people who worked with you.
And thank you to Teresa Rizzo too, who also helped find information and data and research from other communities and how they provide their grants. So all of that comparative analysis took place and we did our homework and we think we came up with a very good product.
Questions? Seeing none, this does have public comment.
I have no one wishing to speak.
Okay, would you like to make the motion to?
I would love to make the motion. Motion to approve Community Grant Committee recommendations for a total amount of $40,000.
Second.
Seconded by Tom McGuire. Now we have any comments from council?
Ralph Mazzola was the vice mayor when I was first on council, and he was always very careful with the grants that we gave. They were intended for things that we couldn't do ourselves. And I have no issue with most of the items on here. However, there's one issue on here that is basically paying a group to lobby us in the future. So I will not be supporting this tonight.
Okay, did you want to make a motion to,
Nope.
okay. Dusty?
No, I think in years past, it's been very informal. I'm glad that we put a process in place and I'm glad that we have a process that we can follow in the future. And I do agree with the vice mayor that in the future, we ought to identify upfront how much money is available. And perhaps we ought to specify what the maximum grant we're going to give to any organization is. But you know, you don't learn these things until you actually do it. So I think this has been a good overall effort and I fully support it.
Thanks, Dustin.
Okay, at this point then, let's say no further comment from council, ready for a vote. This is financial, so we'll have a roll call.
Councilmember Algerton,
I
Councilmember Bunch,
No.
Councilmember Alcoma,
enthusiastically, yes.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember Rhodes.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Royer,
Yes.
Mayor Morris.
Aye, motion passes 6-1. And we are on to council discussion approval of resolution number R 2024-04. A resolution of the mayor and town council of the town of Cave Creek, Maricopa County, Arizona, authorizing the mayor to execute a state and local cybersecurity grant program, local consent agreement between the town of Cave Creek and the state of Arizona for the town's participation in the state and local cybersecurity grant program, presented by the deputy town manager, town clerk, and IT coordinator.
Mayor and Council, this is a renewal of the federal fiscal year 2022 cybersecurity grant program that we brought to you in October of last year. As the program continues, they're getting the federal fiscal year 2023 agreement out to us earlier in the year. Last year's it was a little bit late in the year. This request is just for a continuing agreement to receive services through the federal, state, and local cyber grant program. And if there are any questions, Brian Poor, our IT coordinator, is available to answer them, or myself.
So this is something that's a continuation before, and it
Yes.
supplies with a lot of cybersecurity tools free of charge.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, questions from council? Seeing none, we have public comment.
I have no one wishing to
No
speak.
comment, we're looking for a motion on this then.
I'll make it. Motion to approve resolution R 2024-04, resolution of the mayor and town council of the town of Cave Creek, Maricopa County, Arizona, authorizing the mayor to execute a state and local cybersecurity grant program, local consent agreement between the town of Cave Creek and the state of Arizona for the town's participation in the state and local cybersecurity grant program.
Second.
Okay, comments? You had the,
Yeah, so I'm a part owner in a small business that does IT services for the federal government. And cybersecurity is the one thing that we as a nation do very poorly. So I am very glad personally that we're taking the time to go out and try to protect our infrastructure. A lot of people don't realize, but all of our water data, all of our sewer data, all of our town infrastructure runs on the internet. And if somebody screws up and gets into our infrastructure, they can shut down the water. They can, as a matter of fact, they can do some very malicious damage to the pumps and pipes and everything else. So I think this is very important. I think this is a must-have as far as things to do for the town.
What he said. And if us taking these precautions, helps, let's just hope that the federal government and the Federal Reserve is as diligent with the digital dollar when it comes along.
Councilman Rhodes, appreciate the experience you bring here. Have there been cases that you know of where bad actors have got into organizations like small towns where they have made those kinds of
Yes,
attacks successfully?
yes.
Well taken.
Yeah, most of the information is classified because what you do is a forensic audit to go back through and find out how it was, how the malicious code was inserted and how you can protect in the future. So these things are becoming increasingly important as we're taking a look at two world adversaries now. What happens if a small town like Cave Creek gets disrupted? Our infrastructure ties into Phoenix and Maricopa County. So they could find a vulnerability with us and it could affect everybody else in the state.
I'm not
And that's how it
asking,
works.
I'm not asking for names and locations.
Yeah, I can't tell you that anyways, but.
Well, you
yes,
probably
it
could
has
tell me, and
happened.
then you'd have to kill me.
It has happened and it has happened to a couple of fairly large dams in the federal
Wow,
inventory.
thank you.
Other comments?
Don't think he hadn't thought about it, Tom.
There is public comment on this?
No one wishing to speak.
Okay, we have a motion, so this will be a voice vote, no dollars at risk. So all those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We're on to item number 3, which is council discussion and approval of the issuance of a contract to Gonzalez Asphalt Incorporated to perform paving per plan design. And I'm inserting the word adjacent after the word design to assessor parcel number 216-13-033 within the town right of way in an amount up to $46,424.08 presented by the town engineer.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're going to do just a little bit of graphics so that we know where it is. Let's see, I think I've got it. There we go. Whoops, back one. Back one, there. Forward one, there we go. So for those of you who haven't been on it, Arroyo Road has been mostly constructed. But if you look over on the right-hand side of the graphic, you'll see a little clouded area. That's what we're talking about tonight to pave. We have the driveway that goes into the Blue Sky property leaves our right of way. And we don't really want to take traffic into private property, so we're going to extend the pavement through to connect. And so the plan there that you see is the crosshatching is what we're talking about today to get paved. And so that was, we solicited 3 companies. One chose not to provide the service. One was quite a bit more. And so we're recommending Gonzalez Asphalt for the amount of $46,424.08 to do the work.
Okay.
Questions?
Could you go back to that previous slide, please?
Certainly.
And help me put into my mind here of exactly where we are. Is there a major road there?
So what we have is Arroyo Road is about a 1/4 mile street south of Highland.
Mhm.
And what you're looking at on the left is Echo Canyon Road. So if you were to go north from Ridgeway,
Is that the new bypass that we?
yes, this is the new bypass that we're talking about that would connect you from the northeast portion of our town to the eastern portion. If you followed this over, you would end up at, yes, I don't know if it has a pointer in it. So the issue is that what we have is going to, if you were to continue over Arroyo Road, you would end up about 75th Street or Kiva, which is maybe half a block long, and then you'd be ended up on Grapevine and then work your way back down Grapevine back into the eastern portion of Cave Creek.
So this particular passage is a newfound way to provide for the security of
Yes.
the community, and it's a very
And
under-
what we have done is, in the center is Old Arroyo Road. And then this is the improved Arroyo Road. The one on the left is looking west and the one on the right is looking east.
Thank you.
Other questions? Seeing none, there's public comment.
I have no one wishing to speak.
Okay, we are, I'm going to make the motion here because there's a change in the motion. Motion to approve the issuance of contract to, the motion to approve the issuance of a contract to Gonzalez Asphalt Incorporated to perform paving per plan design adjacent to assessor parcel 216-13-033 within the town right of way in an amount up to $46,424.08.
Second.
Standard procedure to do this, which needs to be done to get it off private property. So I'll be in favor of this.
It's the right thing to do.
Other comments from council? Seeing that, we'll have a roll call, roll call, please. Teresa.
Councilmember Elkema,
Yes.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes,
Councilmember Rhodes,
Present. This
Coun-
was the previous council that made the agreement. So I'm going to abstain on this one.
Councilmember Algerton,
I think I'm gonna do the same thing. I vote present.
Councilmember Bunch,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Royer,
Yes.
Mayor Morris.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0 with 2 abstentions. And we're on the next one, which is Public Works Department update on the status of 2024 road projects. Town Engineer Al Marion.
Okay, can we have the next PowerPoint up, please, Brian? Okay, so what I want to do is give you an update on where we stand with the projects that we had for this year's CIP and what the status of every project that we had for the year are. So these are the projects that we had in place. The 48th Street Mill and Pave was completed in February of 24th, Canyon Ridge Trail, Mill and Pave. And I will, after we go through these, I will put up a graphic that shows where these were. Highland Road, Edge Mill and Pave, Rancho Manana, Edge Mill and Overlay, Hidden Valley Skyline, Mill and Pave, and Microsurface with structural repairs. The Mill and Pave was completed in February. The Microsurface project was authorized last week and will probably be done by the end of this week. We're moving quick. So 50th Street Mill and Pave was completed in February of 24. 49th Street Microsurface and Structural Repairs. One of those you also approved last week and will probably be will be finished by the end of this week. Stagecoach Pass, Microsurface with Structural Repairs, same thing. 40th Street and Galvin Mill and Pave. This project was delayed. We ended up with a issue with state land. We thought we had a right-of-way dating back to 1949. State land disagreed. So we are trying to work through the state land lease so that one will be moved off. That was 40th Street and Galvin, and we're also going to work on Via Cassandra at the same time since they're related in the Whispering Hills area. Tally Ho and Tandem, that one the design is in progress. I did talk to the consultant today. They hopefully will have a plan to me by the end of the week. And then we will look if it's at a status where we can start the bidding process, we will start the bidding process out on the streets. And then Arroyo Road, we just went through that, which is the road construction completed to a location of East Connection. And thank you for approving the East Connection. The road improvements that we've had, I put them on 3 different graphics showing the red lines, which are the projects that we are either completing or have completed with this project. The only one I realized I left off was the Skyline Hidden Valley Road. I left off that, and that is sort of just south of the town core. That was the Arroyo Road one that we just talked about. And with that, I can answer any questions. We've also had some other things that we did this year, which were, we did a curbing project through the downtown area to separate the trails and to improve the trails and the pedestrian pathways through the downtown. That included some curbing to prevent parking on the pedestrian pathways by people who wanted to park downtown and or in the town core, and we put up curbs to limit that parking ability. So with that, any questions?
Hal, going back to your slide with all the list of streets,
Sure. The list.
the list. Yes.
Okay, there we go.
What's the total budgeted amount for all of these projects?
We've been running, this is going to run right around $1 million for the streets that we had here. The Tally Ho and Tandem are budgeted for $280,000, and that has not been expended yet. But and of course, we didn't spend the money on 40th Street in Galvin. But the original award that we did for the mill and pave contract was $840,000, and last week's contract was about $156,000, so right at $1 million. And the curb projects were piecemeal together, and I think totaled about $40,000 under different contracts.
Does this list compare? Is this the list that got done? Are there items that didn't get done?
This is the list that was in this is the list, complete list from the CIP and from this year's budget where we had listed projects that were going to be done this year.
So you met all your goals.
So far, yes.
Very good. Except for Tally Ho and Tandem.
Tally Ho and
I
Tandem,
think that it needs to be clarified that FY 25 means that it starts
July 1st. So the idea,
It's
the-
not 2025.
no, the idea that we have right now is that if the plans are suitable, we will put them on the street for bidding. We'll receive the bids probably in May, have it on a council agenda in June, and construction starting July 1st, right after the new fiscal year 25 starts.
Very good.
Are we carrying over the money for that?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
It's been included, it will be presented during the
In the
budget
CIP.
discussions next week,
okay,
and it has been included in the fiscal year 25 budget.
okay, thank you.
I drove up Skyline, and as I crested the hill, the beautiful paving stopped. What
Yes.
happened there?
What happened there is that was, there are 2 different types of pavement that have existed there. There was the pavement that we did in mill and pave. The other one was chip seal. And so that's where we're doing, last week you approved the slurry Cape Seal project for the rest of that to take it the rest of the way. And so they were, this weekend they did the, or Thursday, Friday, they did the structural repairs on that area. And then supposedly Wednesday of this week, they're going to be doing the, during the leveling course, the chip and the cape on it. So it will be finished. Any other
Hal-
questions?
Hal,
Yeah.
I recollect we put $2 million in the budget for paving. What?
Well, that also,
I'm $1 million short here.
okay, that also included some, we had some other items. We had $2 million in the public works budget. What we had was, we had some money in there for, we had $300,000 as a placeholder in for the traffic signal that might have gone before, because we put that in before we did the traffic signal study at Cave Creek and Schoolhouse. And so we put in half the money of a traffic signal into the budget. That one ended up not going because we had to have, we had to have the money in the budget in order to be able to spend it. We had about $1 million, we had just about, I think 1.2 million in the budget for this year for paving projects. And fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on which way you look at it, we've been under, we came in about 90%. Our bids came in 90% of budget.
Okay,
So-
the other question then is, where are the three crossings? What, they're not on this,
No, they were part of a, they're part of a, they weren't part of a roadway improvement. Those are the three crossings.
yes,
Those are in design right now, with a consultant. And
Sure.
hopefully we'll have those, the design out and be ready to put those in this fiscal year.
this fiscal year.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Okay, this is, as public comment.
Chantel?
Here we are again. This is just a reminder for Tally Ho and Tandem. Unfortunately, about 2 years ago, when the resident at 6038 inquired as to what the plans were and who the firm was that was going to be developing the construction plans, they were actually told that they were going to be handled in-house, which I think we can all safely say was a mistruth, because at this point, they're obviously being outsourced to a firm that can handle the job of getting them done. So there's been a number of those issues. Back last June, they also said that one of the reasons that we shouldn't chip seal right now is because we were getting sewer. Based on my emails with town staff, there is no plans for sewer whatsoever on either one of those roads. That would also be yet another mistruth from town staff. The whole problem on those roads were caused by a lack of water permits. They were caused by a lack of enforcement of permits. The litany goes on. I'm sure you all know I could do about a 4-hour presentation on the issues on this road. The fact that it was due December 15th was the cutoff for the contractor to get the design done. And now we're talking 4 months later is disgusting. And I hope they gave you a discount on that. I really do, because 4 months later is not an acceptable turnaround time for any municipality, really. Unfortunately, I think this is ringing the same story over and over and over again. This road was neglected for the better part of 4 decades. And now we're just repeating it and pushing it off month by month by month. It's disgusting.
Thank you.
I have no additional speakers.
Okay, we are ready for a motion. No, excuse me. This is a discussion only. So is there any further discussion from council? Councilman?
Mr. Mayor, now, I'm surprised to hear that there was actually funding for the possibility of a traffic light at Schoolhouse Road in the event that would progress forward. I just want to raise the issue again to the council. I've tried to get this on the agenda to no avail. I would ask the council and the chair to whatever will be an appropriate direction to staff. And I know we've got the MAG regional mantra, but I do think it's worthy of an experiment, not during special events, but just irregardless of special events, to test a traffic light at Schoolhouse Road and Cave Creek Road. I don't know why. It's not the first traffic light in Cave Creek. We've got a few up on Cave Creek Highway. And I'm not necessarily advocating a traffic light there, but I'm advocating exploring, not just based on best engineering standards and MAG Regional Council and so forth, but what the public might think about a trial period. Ernie did help us out for the last few years with the flashing red light, because people are conditioned with a light and being red that they actually will stop, and the proof is before that.
Mostly.
The stop sign was a suggestion. But, and maybe it's not today or tomorrow, but I just think it's inevitable, absent something else in the downtown corridor with the speeds that we're currently seeing, that Schoolhouse is the perfect place to put a working traffic signal, at least on a test basis, to see if we can interrupt the speedway that has become the result of 5 lanes of asphalt. So I'm not an engineer, I'm not an expert, but I just think we can do more to explore. Or if we're not going to do that, if we have like a policy position that it's a lot of money for something that may not be proven to be that effective, then I would like to lobby again for something else more than what we currently have. And I know we had the chance for the speed tables and that didn't proceed forward. But, and I'm not advocating stop signs at Rancho Manana and Spur Cross Road, although if you had them, the traffic pattern would be different. But I really do believe at Schoolhouse Road, if the flashing red light has provided sufficient visibility and attention for people, I mean, it's still, it's Mad Max out there. And those of us coming down Schoolhouse Road, we're the prey, and the predators are the people coming through town. So I just would, whatever others think on this issue, I would like to just raise the flag of the pole again, thinking that it would be interesting to do an experiment with a temporary traffic light. And last time I used the example up on Carefree Highway, when they were putting the water line in to serve that property up there, they actually had the automatic traffic lights, which worked with a motion sensor and no attendant. And it worked pretty quickly. You stopped maybe for 30 seconds or 60 seconds, depending on the opposite traffic, but it performed without personnel pretty effectively. So I thought maybe that could be procured on a lease basis for a temporary period of time to try out. If there's no support for this, then there will need to be other options. But I just think at Schoolhouse Road, when the vehicles come over the hill up on the Carefree border and they come down the hill, the rate of acceleration and passing doesn't really dissipate as you go through the downtown business corridor. And if you have to stop at Schoolhouse Road, I think it would interfere with the expectation that it's posted at 30, but it's experienced at a higher number routinely by residents and visitors alike. So I'm just trying to see if a larger red light, the Ernie Bunch Memorial Light, maybe accompanied by a yellow and a green, maybe just on a trial basis, 3 months, 6 months, to see if it helps the flow of traffic. And if not, then, there may be something else.
Well, we're coming up on budget time. I would ask you to work with staff to flesh out so that something that's actionable that.
Well, I just didn't want to miss the opportunity to raise this issue tonight because I didn't know that we actually had money put aside.
Yeah,
tentatively for
I
that.
didn't either. I thought it was for paving.
No, that was put in the budget last year because we were in the process of, in the middle of the study. And if we were going to do it, the last stoplight that went in was $500,000 at 53rd Street and Carefree Highway. So we put in about half the money, just so that we would probably span it over 2 years if the study came back as needing the stoplight. And then, of course, the study came back not needing it. But again, if you don't budget for it, then you cannot spend it. And so if the study came back as being necessary, then we wanted to have at least half the money in so it could get started.
I think if we're looking at things like traffic lights or even additional stop signs, they ought to be in keeping with character of we're supposed to be a destination community, so let's make it look old fashioned. I think we can do that.
Yeah. But we're probably getting out, this is about asphalt and so we'll work with staff to flesh this out into something that can be actionable, and we're on.
Mayor,
budget time.
we're taking notes on this, and certainly when we have the budget, this would be a perfect opportunity to talk about that. So thank you, Mr. Councilmember Oggerton.
Any other discussion? If seeing none, we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.